Okay, that should be live. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Just waiting for that to actually show up on TradingView, because that would be silly. Tremendous, we're working. Apparently it doesn't show unless you refresh the page. All right, well, we are here. Okay, let's get started. It has definitely been a minute since I last live streamed. Had a lot of things happen to me all at once, including car got stolen. I lost one of my jobs where I was an artist, which I really liked the project, and I was fired for some what's the right way to put it? Some unspoken social expectations that were apparently I quote unquote needed to read the literature in order to understand, with them not providing me the literature or even telling me that I needed to know about it. So the words microaggressions came up. It was a mess. I was very unhappy. I really wish they just told me that they were running out of money. That would have made sense, but they had to make it weird, and I did not like that. So, with that out of the way, I actually did find my car. It was abandoned on the side of the road, which is great, but they cut out the catalytic converter because palladium prices and platinum prices and rhodium prices are through the roof right now, and stealing catalytic converters is very profitable. In fact, it is so profitable that I had actually left my credit card in my car because I am stupid. And they actually drove my car to Home Depot, used my credit card to buy $800 worth of equipment that was required for cutting out the catalytic converter of my car. It was fascinating. Yeah, don't leave your wallet in your car. I know. I was carrying up a bag of groceries at midnight, and I just I'll come back tomorrow morning and get it. Tomorrow morning, the car's gone. So, that was a mess. But, fired, hell of a week for you. Yeah, man. It is what it is. They paid me well, but yeah, I'm a little salty. So lots of life changes happening all at once. That's where I'm at right now. However, I did spend like 45 minutes getting OBS to work, which is great. Turns out all this time, the reason OBS wasn't working is because I had set my FPS to 29.99, and the required FPS is 30 for TradingView. And having 1/100th of a second off is enough to completely stop the stream from working altogether, which is just fascinating to me. Anyway, I think I've given you guys plenty of time to trickle in. Got a new guy in the Discord. That's great. Okay. Well, I'm just going to start. I'm ready. I've been ready for a while. Okay. Starting off with Bitcoin. How are we doing? Looks like we've been compressing pretty nicely here on the daily chart. Very little has changed since I last streamed, to be honest. Just fascinating. We've done nothing but go sideways, and altcoins have slowly trickled to the upside for the most part. Now, no bark. My dog is looking at me. You will. You'll come out all right. More stronger. Yes, most likely. And slightly wealthier. which is the real takeaway from a job. And so I will say the mission has been accomplished. Bull trap. I don't really know. The thing about our strategy is we know when things are happening and we know when they're not. Right now, we know things are not happening, which is very reliable and very easy to identify. However, things have not been happening for such a long period of time that we are actually sufficiently compressed for things to happen. Take a look at our wave PM. And now is the time, if you want me to answer your questions, please drop them in the chat. I'll be happy to look at whatever chart you want me to. So everything is compressed here on the 4-hour chart, which does imply there is enough potential energy for a new move. And on the daily chart, we've had a lot of conflicting movement, and it's finally starting to evaporate. With this statement, is this a bull trap? I'm going to say maybe, and only in this regard. So, if on the 4-hour chart, we had ourselves a bullish expansion where price went up, essentially what we would be waiting for is our mean inversion pivot to 4. And as long as we're above that, we're in trend. So, fully compressed in the 4-hour, capable of trend in either direction. It is slightly bullishly weighted right now, but we actually have to wait for the expansion to start or for our wave PM to cross, which is fine. On our daily chart, what we have is volatility overhead, which is slowly starting to evaporate. So if we do have an upward spike on the 4-hour now, I am inclined to think it might start mean inversion rather than just blow off in complete trend. So what I mean by that, so let's see if I can find an example. I'm just going to look at the 3D wave PM, see if I can find what I'm looking for. Okay. On the daily chart. What have I done? Did I drag an indicator down here? That's weird. Okay. Oh, can I undo that? Undo that. Undo that. Go away. Stop. Stop. Okay. Anyway. My point is, okay, this will work. So, essentially what we have here is volatility overhead, right? We had a nice large move, and then we had that slowly decay up. And now this is all compression up here, right? So this is all compressing. In other words, you have big Bollinger Bands that are super wide, and they are clamping inward, right? Suffocating price. Now, what we have here is a new plume, which is expansion, right? Now, that expansion is going to hit its head against the ceiling and face resistance. Quite simply resistance. Because it requires additional force to expand past that ceiling. Essentially what we're looking for is scenarios where we have no ceiling. And when we have no ceiling, when that expansion occurs, it usually lasts for a long time because it requires very little effort to continue expanding. And let's actually see if that matches the chart, shall we? Cool. So here, right, we have no overhead. We start expanding. What happens? We have long, successful trend. Beautiful. All right, we look over here where we have volatility overhead and the expansion starts. What happens? The trend is short, it is stunted, it is jumpy, and full of volatility. So, essentially what's happening here on the daily chart is shorter time frames are very, very compressed, right? Where we have lots of potential energy all down here. Meaning, short term, we can be very jumpy in either direction. We can have a nice successful move up, a nice successful move down, but it is rather unlikely that that will result in sustainable trend. Most likely, we would get a jump to the upside, down, trickle, finish compression, or downside, and then finish compression. Okay, either direction. Okay, very nice. Oops, my song changed. Okay. How about the weekly BLX? So we actually don't have enough history to actually define that over there. But what we do have is enough to define this move here. So this upward jump here results in this nice plume, which we can probably define. I am going to try the 4-day, which might give us a better resolution on this move, right? See? Let's do 3-day. Okay, no, 4-day was the trick. All right, essentially what we're doing is we're jumping time frames just to get this in very clear resolution so we could manually define the pivot as nicely as possible. Okay, looking at the 400 period. 350. Do 380 right in the middle there. Maybe 8cat will actually handle this for us. No, it's maxing out. Let's see if we can change the settings to account for that. There we go. Wow, okay. Yeah, so very interesting for price to be that respective of price, right? Because what we're looking at here is all this is nonsense because it's overexpanded. The line is yellow. It's beyond the scope of the indicator, unless we change time frames. What we're seeing here is the indicator resets after 100 bars, and it's providing with this new data here, which is, as we just said, very clear. We changed the resolution of our time frame so that this indicator could be in higher resolution. And the result is incredibly accurate price pivot. Look at that. That is obscenely accurate. Wow. So what's happening now? Funny enough, we're actually still going to have to redefine it because now we're registering it off this period, and that's wrong. So manual definition it is. 350. So it does look like it's technically active here on our 4-day chart. Technically an active bearish mean inversion. Which technically would have a target of 20,000. Yeah. How about that? So the other part of that is, or you can either resume trend. Essentially, 300 period needs to turn green, which if we load up on Starwave PM, take a look at it. Okay, it's actually bearishly re-expanding. Interesting. So that implies excessive force to the downside, which may or may not be now. Actually, now it might be seeing high volatility because we are trying to re-expand previously expanded periods in the opposite direction, which is interesting. Is that tradable information? I don't think so. All right now. Do think our daily chart. I think we're just going to keep compressing. Might have a short-term jump. But I don't think we're quite ready for a big move. For our chart, very nicely compressed, slightly bullishly weighted. If you get that wave PM cross to the upside, might have a nice short-term trend. And we'll see how that goes. Cool. Okay. Looks like that's going to be it for today. It has been a pleasure. I will try to see you all within the next 2 days. I'm going to start trimming more consistently again, now that my life has settled down a bit, which is great. All right, friends, been a pleasure. I'll talk to you all 2 days. Zealot Mines is coming in with EH. Ethanol futures, is that what you mean? Did you misspell Eth? Is there an EHBTC? Don't know. Who knows? Eth. Okay, that's what I thought. FBTC. For our chart is an actual and a bullish expansion here. Manually defining. 1 hour is going to be a bit cleaner. Cool. Overexpanded right now, to be honest. This is actually LPT. I'll check that out too, man. Okay, so oh yeah, I remember now. Sorry. One thing you can do is kind of a risky trade, but as soon as we cross down here from inside the 3.2 standard deviation of our 250 period, that is a scalpable short, and you should just do that to the 2.2 standard deviation, so probably to around like 6,900. So very, very small short position, 1-to-1 profit ratio with like a 60% chance of hitting. It's fine. That is a trade you can take. Oh man. Very low volume. Makes me worried. I can't say I'm interested. Sorry. Palladium. Quite the meteoric rise, and wow, what is that drawdown? 20% in a few days, eh? So I guess the question is this a warranted mean reversion or something outside the mean? Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Great, all right. Oh my god. Wiggle that back in there. Oh my god. Okay. Weekly chart. Very odd price movement. Guess what you're looking for is when you have this sort of meteoric come up, the harsh drawdown, I guess you're looking for the dead cat bounce, right? Before you have that short term of compression. Can we define that? I think we can. $180 period. Okay, so there's only 2 hard pivots on this chart right now, and less pivots and more support and resistance. All right, price is very likely to stall out at either 21.92 or 28.43. Very wide range, but if we hit either inside this very large range, right, we can reliably take a position in the other direction. Because this is now active compression. Means we should either go sideways or go sideways but with volatility. Until, of course, the 180 period is below 0.7. Okay, FTX. Does look like we have a 4-hour expansion here to the upside. Correlation coefficient is very independent from Bitcoin, which is a good sign. Daily chart is completely compressed. Wow, this might be a catch. 4-hour chart is starting initial expansion. Dude, this is a great find. One thing I am noticing is this move right here. Because this here is actually that same expansion. What does the daily chart look like on that line? Okay, there's our answer. So daily chart still was clamping down on the compression. Now we do have upward slope on most of our periods. So this expansion on the 4-hour failed. It's upward expansion, right? Because our daily wasn't done compressing. This downward expansion on the 4-hour chart, which again is that same nice expansion, ended up mean reverting. So what you can do here is try to take a position around 10,596. It's reasonable. And you go for the hero play. You look for the start of a new trend. That's what I think. Right? Because you have some very long-term bullishness here. Yeah, that's a chart I like. Good find. All right, friends, been a pleasure. I'll talk to you all later. Ciao.